Betrayed by my unsupportive director, I struck back at the annual meeting, a revenge they never saw coming. What twists await? I stared at my computer screen, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. The annual meeting was just a week away, and I was both excited and nervous. My team and I had worked tirelessly on our new project at Tech Innovations. We had spent late nights and weekends coding, debugging, and perfecting our software. This was our moment to shine, and I was ready to present our hard work. But then there was Greg, my director. He had always been dismissive of my ideas, constantly belittling my contributions in front of the team. I couldn't shake the feeling that he didn't believe in me. I sighed, pushing those thoughts aside. I had to focus. This project was my chance to prove him wrong and show everyone what I was capable of. As the days passed, I poured my heart into the presentation. I wanted to ensure every detail was perfect. My colleagues, Sarah and Mike, were supportive and excited. They believed in our project and wanted to make it a success. I felt grateful to have them by my side, especially with Greg's negativity hanging over us. On the day before the meeting, I discovered that Greg had invited his son, Kyle, to join us. Kyle was fresh out of college and had no experience in our field. I felt a twinge of worry. Why was he coming? I pushed the thought away and focused on my final preparations. The morning of the meeting arrived, and nerves bubbled in my stomach. I wore my best blazer and practiced my speech in front of the mirror. When I walked into the conference room, I felt a wave of anxiety wash over me. The table was set with fancy cups and plates, and I could see my team members whispering to each other. As the meeting began, I introduced myself and launched into my presentation. I could see Greg sitting back in his chair, arms crossed, a skeptical look on his face. I tried to ignore him and focused on the slides. The data and visuals were impressive, showing how our software could revolutionize the industry. About halfway through, I noticed Kyle nudging Greg, whispering something. My heart sank as I saw Greg's expression change. He looked at me with a smirk, and I felt the heat rise in my cheeks. I pushed through, determined to finish strong. But just as I reached the climax of my presentation, Greg cut in. "I don't think this is what we need," he said dismissively. "Maybe we should go with something more modern." My heart dropped. This was a blow I hadn't expected. "Greg, I believe this is the best solution for our needs," I replied, trying to stay calm. The tension in the room was palpable. I could see my teammates exchanging worried glances. Greg continued to undermine my presentation, suggesting a completely different approach that had nothing to do with our hard work. My stomach churned. It felt like a betrayal. As Greg wrapped up his comments, I decided to stand my ground. "I'm confident in our project and the data we've gathered," I said firmly. "This is a result of months of dedication and effort." The room fell silent, all eyes on me. I felt a surge of determination. I wasn't going to let Greg's negativity take away my moment. The meeting ended with a sense of defeat hanging in the air. I felt crushed. My teammates tried to console me, but I needed time to process what had just happened. I couldn't help but feel like Greg had intentionally sabotaged my presentation. That night, I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned, replaying the meeting over and over in my mind. I needed to strike back. I couldn't let Greg's actions define my career or my hard work. I decided I would find a way to showcase our project outside of the meeting room. The next morning, I came up with a plan. I would create a video presentation of our software, highlighting its features and benefits. I could share it on social media and with industry contacts. This would allow me to reach a wider audience and showcase the work my team had done. I gathered my team and shared my idea. They were excited and eager to help. We spent the next few days filming and editing, making sure we captured the essence of our project. I felt a renewed sense of purpose and excitement. As we worked on the video, I started to feel more confident. This was our chance to prove Greg wrong and show the world what we could do. I could hardly believe how far we had come as a team. The camaraderie and support we shared inspired me to push through. Finally, the day came to release the video. I posted it on all my social media accounts and sent it to industry contacts. I felt a rush of adrenaline as I clicked the post button. The response was overwhelming. Within hours, the video went viral. People were sharing it, commenting, and praising our work. I was thrilled. This was exactly what I had hoped for. My phone buzzed with notifications, and I felt a sense of accomplishment wash over me. But then, I noticed something alarming. Greg was commenting on the video, trying to downplay our success. He claimed it was overhyped and not what the company needed. I felt my heart race. His negativity was creeping back in, but I refused to let it get to me this time. I decided to confront Greg directly. I scheduled a meeting with him, knowing it would be uncomfortable. I walked into his office, determination in my step. "Greg, I wanted to talk to you about the video," I began. He looked at me with a mix of surprise and annoyance. "What about it?" "It's clear that people are excited about our project," I said firmly. "I want to make this a success, and I believe we should embrace the positive feedback instead of dismissing it." Greg leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. "That's all well and good, but you need to understand what the company needs," he said dismissively. "We're not a startup looking for viral fame." I felt my frustration boiling over. "But we can still innovate and be successful," I argued. "Don't you want our team to thrive?" His expression shifted slightly, but I could tell he was still resistant. "I'll consider your input," he replied curtly. I left his office feeling a mix of determination and uncertainty. I knew I had to keep pushing for our project, no matter what Greg thought. In the following weeks, the buzz around our video continued to grow. I received messages from industry leaders wanting to collaborate. I even got invited to a tech conference to speak about our project. I was thrilled, but also nervous. This was a huge opportunity for me and my team. As the conference approached, I practiced my speech over and over. I wanted to make sure I was ready to represent our project and my team. I knew Greg would be watching, and I wanted to show him what we were capable of. The day of the conference arrived, and I felt a mix of excitement and nerves. I stood backstage, waiting for my turn to speak. The energy in the room was electric, filled with tech enthusiasts and industry leaders. I took a deep breath, calming my racing heart. When it was finally my turn, I stepped onto the stage. The audience was seated, and I could see their eager faces. I launched into my presentation, showcasing our software and its potential. I could feel the energy in the room shift as I spoke. As I finished my presentation, I was met with enthusiastic applause. My heart swelled with pride. This was everything I had worked for, and it felt incredible to share it with such a receptive audience. I took a moment to soak it all in, knowing that my team deserved all the credit. Afterward, I mingled with attendees, receiving compliments and discussing potential collaborations. I was on cloud nine, feeling like I had finally proven my worth. But then I spotted Greg across the room, his face a mixture of annoyance and disbelief. He approached me, and I braced myself for his comments. "You know, it's great to see you getting attention," he said, his tone oddly condescending. "But don't get too cocky." I felt my anger bubble up. "I'm not being cocky, Greg. I'm proud of my work and my team. It's about time we get recognized." His expression darkened, but I refused to back down. "I'm done hiding in your shadow," I added defiantly. The confrontation left me feeling empowered. I had stood up for myself, and it felt liberating. I returned to my team, who were all excited about the positive response we received. They congratulated me, and I felt a sense of camaraderie that reinforced my belief in our project. As the weeks passed, interest in our software continued to grow. We started receiving inquiries from potential clients, and I began working on demos and proposals. It felt like everything was falling into place. However, Greg's attitude remained sour. He tried to undermine our progress, insisting that we needed to pivot to something more mainstream. I faced his comments head-on, reminding him of the positive feedback we had received, but it was exhausting. I felt like I was constantly fighting to defend our work. I realized I needed to take a stand, not just for myself, but for my team as well. That's when I decided to take action. I organized a team meeting to discuss our next steps. I wanted to make sure everyone was on the same page and felt empowered to contribute their ideas. As we sat around the conference table, I encouraged everyone to share their thoughts. The atmosphere shifted, filled with excitement and creativity. Ideas flowed, and I could see the spark in my teammates' eyes. By the end of the meeting, we had developed a clear plan for the next phase of our project. We would reach out to potential clients, showcasing our software and its benefits. I could feel the energy in the room, and it fueled my determination. but I knew Greg wouldn't be pleased. He had a habit of undermining our efforts, and I didn't want him to derail our progress. So I decided to keep our plans under wraps until we had something concrete to show. As we moved forward, the momentum continued to build. We secured our first client, a major logistics company, and they were thrilled with our software. The success validated all our hard work, and I felt a sense of pride wash over me. I couldn't wait to share the news with my team. We celebrated with a small gathering, excited about our future. But deep down, I knew Greg would find a way to downplay our achievements. The day of our big client meeting arrived, and I felt a surge of adrenaline. We had prepared thoroughly, and I was ready to showcase how our software could revolutionize their operations. I stood in front of the conference room, waiting for the client representatives to arrive. When they walked in, I felt a mix of nerves and determination. I introduced myself and launched into the presentation, showcasing our software's features and benefits. The representatives were engaged, nodding along as I spoke. As I wrapped up the presentation, the room erupted in applause. My heart raced with excitement. The client representatives were impressed, and I could see their enthusiasm. They asked questions, expressing genuine interest in implementing our software. I left the meeting feeling triumphant. We had successfully proven ourselves, and I couldn't wait to share the news with my team. But as I walked back to my office, I spotted Greg lurking in the hallway, arms crossed. "Nice presentation," he said, but his tone was laced with sarcasm. "Just remember, we still need to focus on the bigger picture." I felt my frustration boiling over. "The bigger picture is exactly what we're doing, Greg. Our software is changing the game, and you can't keep dismissing it." His eyes narrowed, but I refused to back down. "It's time for you to recognize the value of our work," I said firmly. The tension between us reached a boiling point. I realized I wouldn't let him undermine our progress any longer. I decided to escalate the situation. I scheduled a meeting with upper management to discuss our success and the direction of our project. When the day came, I presented our achievements and the potential for future growth. I emphasized the importance of supporting our team and fostering an environment where innovation could thrive. After my presentation, I could see the management team nodding in agreement. They recognized the value of our work, and I could feel a weight lifting off my shoulders. I had stood up for myself and my team, and it felt empowering. As I left the meeting, I spotted Greg watching from the corner, his expression unreadable. I couldn't help but feel a sense of victory. We had proven ourselves, and I was ready to take on whatever challenges lay ahead. In that moment, I knew I had reclaimed my power. I was no longer just a cog in the machine. I was a driving force behind our success, and nothing could stop us now.